Have you ever looked in the mirror and asked yourself, does my hair still look the way it used to? Do I still feel confident walking out the door with this hair? As we age, many women over 60 start to feel like their hair just isn't what it used to be. It thins out, gray strands begin to show, and sometimes these changes can make us feel less confident. But here's the truth, your hair doesn't define who you are, so how can you make sure your hair still reflects the natural beauty and youthful spirit you've always had? The importance of hairstyle for women over 60. Hair is not just a part of your appearance. It's a reflection of your personality, lifestyle, and confidence. When we look in the mirror, our hair often reveals more than just our age. It's a crucial element in shaping the image we project to the world. A well-chosen hairstyle can completely transform how we feel about ourselves, making us feel more confident, energetic, and youthful. Your hair doesn't need to be perfect, but finding the right style can make a huge difference. The right cut will help you feel refreshed, youthful, and confident while also highlighting the features you love. As we age, our hair changes, becoming thinner, grayer, and sometimes drier. But this doesn't have to be a bad thing. Finding a hairstyle that suits your face shape and lifestyle can renew your energy and help you feel like the best version of yourself. A hairstyle that works for you can change everything. Not just how you look, but how you feel. A good haircut can make you feel younger, more vibrant, and ready to take on whatever life throws at you. It's not about trying to look younger than you are, it's about embracing who you are now and showing the world your best self. Our hair is a mirror of who we are at any given moment in our lives. For women over 60, changes in hair texture or thickness can be frustrating. But that doesn't mean we have to settle for a style that doesn't feel like us. The right haircut can give you a renewed sense of confidence, making you feel like you've rediscovered your spark. It's not about perfection, but about authenticity, feeling confident and comfortable in your own skin. When you love your hair, you feel better about yourself. The way your hair looks can have a huge impact on your self-esteem and the way you interact with the world. Whether it's a bold new cut or a more classic style, when your hair complements your face and personality, you're going to feel great. A fresh hairstyle gives you the opportunity to look in the mirror and smile, feeling proud of the woman you are right now. So how do you find a hairstyle that works for you at this stage of life? Let's explore 3 timeless, flattering hairstyles that can help you look and feel your best. Styles that will make you feel younger, more confident, and ready to take on the world. Three perfect hairstyles for women over 60. Soft layered bob. The soft layered bob is a classic yet modern hairstyle that works for every face shape. This style offers a soft, airy feel with layers that are cut gently, creating a natural bounce and movement. It's easy to maintain, requiring minimal effort for styling, just a few simple steps and you're ready to go. The best part, it gives you a fresh, youthful look without needing hours of effort or a drawer full of hair products. This hairstyle is particularly effective in softening the jawline, especially for those whose face shape may have lost some definition over time. It gives the face a more sculpted, youthful appearance and makes the whole look feel lighter and more dynamic. The soft layered bob is the ideal style for creating a refreshed, energetic vibe while keeping things effortlessly chic. What makes this cut so great is its ability to enhance natural features like cheekbones and eyes without making the style feel forced or overly dramatic. It's a look that works for everyone, whether you have silver strands, a rich brunette hue, or a bold blonde shade. Pixie cut. The pixie cut is a fantastic option for women who love a neat, bold look. This hairstyle is perfect for those with smaller face shapes who want to highlight features like cheekbones and eyes. The pixie cut creates a slimmer, more defined face shape, drawing attention to your natural beauty without the need for elaborate styling. With short, tidy hair, you can enjoy the freedom and comfort of a low-maintenance look that won't require constant attention or worry about tangled or unruly strands. A pixie cut offers a bold, strong appearance but still maintains a soft, feminine touch. It allows you to express confidence while embracing a fresh, youthful look. This style is easy to care for, saving you time while keeping you looking chic and modern. Not only does the pixie cut accentuate your best features, but it also brings a sense of vibrancy and energy to your overall appearance. It's a versatile style that can easily go from casual to polished with minimal effort. A little mousse or styling cream is all you need to maintain a youthful, stylish vibe that enhances your natural elegance. Long bob. The long bob or lob is the perfect hairstyle for women who want a feminine look without the hassle of high-maintenance styling. This cut falls just above the shoulders or slightly below, creating a light and effortless feel. It works well with virtually every face shape, highlighting natural features without requiring extensive products or styling techniques. The lob is easy to style and doesn't demand much time. Simply air dry or add a soft wave for volume and texture. Not only does the long bob create balance for the face, but it also brightens the complexion, adding a fresh, youthful glow. The soft layers give the hair volume and movement, which is particularly flattering for women with fine or thin hair. This hairstyle creates the illusion of thicker, healthier hair, giving you a polished look with minimal effort. The lob is all about versatility and simplicity. It's the go-to choice for women who want a look that's both elegant and easy to manage, offering a perfect balance between beauty and convenience. Effective hair care tips for women over 60. When it comes to hair care, choosing the right shampoo is crucial. Sulfate-free shampoos are an excellent option as they protect your hair from dryness, especially for women with fine or fragile hair. Sulfates can strip hair of its natural moisture, making it dry and prone to damage. A sulfate-free shampoo gently cleanses the hair without removing moisture, keeping it soft and manageable. Conditioner plays a vital role as well. Opt for a mild, non-chemical conditioner to provide moisture to your hair. Natural products like argan oil or coconut oil are ideal because they are rich in nutrients, leaving your hair smooth and healthy. Argan oil helps repair damaged hair, making it shiny and strong, while coconut oil provides deep hydration, making your hair softer and more manageable. One simple but effective practice is scalp massage. Gently massaging your scalp for 5-10 minutes daily boosts circulation, promoting hair growth and health. This not only helps your hair but also provides a relaxing break to relieve stress. Additionally, deep conditioning treatments using natural ingredients like avocado, honey, or coconut oil can do wonders for your hair. These natural masks help restore hair, nourish it with essential nutrients, and make it shinier and healthier. These ingredients are gentle on the scalp and hair, ensuring long-lasting moisture and softness. Diet also plays a significant role in maintaining healthy hair. To keep your hair strong from the inside, incorporate foods rich in omega-3s, biotin, and iron. Omega-3 fatty acids found in salmon, walnuts, and chia seeds nourish hair from the roots. Biotin, found in eggs, almonds, and leafy greens, supports hair growth and strength. Iron, found in red meat, lentils, and dark leafy vegetables, helps deliver oxygen to the hair follicles, encouraging thick, healthy hair. Along with external care, protecting your hair from heat damage and environmental factors is just as important. To keep your hair looking fresh and healthy, use products that protect your hair from heat and harmful environmental factors. Confidence from a new hairstyle. Changing your hairstyle can make a significant difference, not just in your appearance, but in your confidence and how you feel about yourself. A new haircut can make you feel fresher, more youthful, and even transform the way you see yourself. Many women, after trying a new bob cut, find themselves feeling more energized and self-assured, no longer confined by age. Your hair may not be everything, but when you feel good about your hair, you feel better about yourself and more confident. The right hairstyle doesn't just make you look great, it makes you feel beautiful and self-assured in any situation. A flattering haircut not only highlights your features, but also boosts your inner confidence, making it easier to engage with the world around you. With a fresh hairstyle, you can rediscover your confidence and embrace your natural beauty. A great haircut is the key to looking and feeling your best. When you feel confident about your appearance, that confidence extends to your interactions, work, and relationships. Hair is more than just an accessory, it impacts how we feel about ourselves. When your hair looks good, you feel good, and you carry that self-assurance into everything you do. You don't need to try to look younger. All you need is to feel more beautiful and confident in the natural beauty you already possess. Find a hairstyle that suits your age and personal style, because everyone has their own unique beauty and your hair should reflect that. Give these hairstyles a try and share your results with us. If you have any questions about hair care or want to explore more styles, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss the next video.